Hey, it's Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and it's Tuesday. It's May 27th. This will be our chart lesson for the day, and we're quickly winding this month down. Only a couple of days left. Um, just real quick update. I had my surgery last week. Everything went well. I did have some um, a minor issue during my surgery. I guess my heart went into AFib or something. I've never had heart trouble. I'm pretty healthy. My heart's always been healthy, but I did go into AFib, and as of till this morning, I was still had an irregular heartbeat. But I've taken my blood pressure a couple of times today, and it's showing a normal heartbeat now. So hopefully, they think that it was just something to do with the medication or the surgery, them putting me under. They said that happens sometimes. It's rare, but it does happen, and but I do, just to be safe, I'm going to go see a heart specialist and let them look at me and just make sure there's nothing else going on, some kind of hidden issue that I was unaware of or something. But other than that, everything went great. So I'm a little sore, I'm a little slow, and I'm way behind, and I'm a lot behind. So you have to bear with me. Um, I've been doing the chart lesson a little early today. I'm going to go home a little early. I'm just not full speed yet. I'm just a little drowsy. I'm not really sleepy, but I'm just physically I'm not 100% yet. So um, I'm just getting tired really easily. So and some of that could have had to do with my heartbeat. As of this morning, I took my blood pressure early this morning, and it still was showing some um, an irregular heartbeat. But as of this afternoon, it seems to have subsided and gone away. So I'm hoping that's good news, and I'm hoping that it is going to work itself out on its own. But just to be safe, I'm going to keep my appointment with my heart doctor, and so I maybe have some more doctor's appointments coming up. And I do have a follow-up Friday. I may take the whole day off Friday. Um, I don't do chart lessons on Fridays anyway, so that's not going to really affect a whole lot other than just me being out on another day during the week. But it won't affect our chart lessons because I don't do them on Friday anyway. So but anyway, that's an update about me. I appreciate the prayers, the notes, everything. But the surgery went well, and I'm just a little sore, as I said, still, but not nearly as bad as I thought. I had a secondary issue. I didn't really talk about it, but I had a secondary issue where I had a thumb injury where it's I injured it years and years ago, and it's right on the. I'm right-handed. And it's right on the end of my right thumb, and most of you know I'm pretty active. I'm always doing stuff outdoors. I use my hands a lot, and I constantly bump that thing and injure it. And I've injured it so many times that it would not heal up. So while they had me under for this surgery, the surgeon says, "Hey, I'll fix that thumb for you as well." And so I had that fixed as well. So I'm still a little incapacitated with my right hand. He talked like that was going to be the most painful part of it, that thing was going to really throb. But and they did have to take off part of my thumb and took most of the nail off my right thumb as well. When you take the bandage off, it looks horrendous, but it didn't hurt at all. It really has not hurt me much at all unless I bump it. And of course, I bump it on everything I touch. So um, but hopefully that is a issue for me. That's the last time my thumb bleeds all over everything. I mean, it doesn't matter what I'm doing. I could be buttoning my shirt and it starts bleeding, and it doesn't take much pressure for it to open that wound and cause it to bleed. And it sounds a lot worse than it was, but it never really hurt. It just was messy. It was bleeding all the time, and I would bang it on something, and it would bleed, and it would scar up, and it just never would heal up. But anyway, he fixed that for me, and that went well. As also, I'm more excited about that really than the other part of the surgery, to be honest. But they got me all fixed up, and I'm back in the saddle. And again, I appreciate the notes, the prayers, the and that kind of stuff. So thank you so much. I appreciate it. But let's get to the chart lesson. I'm good. I'm healing up. I'm going to be a little slow getting back to full speed here. I got a lot of emails read today. There's probably still a few that some of you are waiting to hear from me. I just hadn't had a chance to get to them yet. But if you wouldn't mind, just for this week, hold your um, your trade questions and chart questions and things like that, just to give me a chance to get caught up and not get further behind, and just so it's not so, because I'm probably going to do short days here, do these chart lessons around 2:30 or 3, and then get out of here each day this week just till I'm kind of back to normal. So, but I appreciate you being patient with me. But let's go over this chart lesson. You can see the daily chart. Another bullish day today. We closed on the high. Actually, we hadn't closed yet. We still got a little less than an hour. It's 3:06 by my clock here. So we got a little less than an hour before we close. So bullish day though, but we opened up, traded lower, and then we started rallying just after the 8:30 a.m. regular session open, and it's been mostly uphill today. So it's not a great trading day. It's fairly low volume, and it's just a trickle. It's like an upward trickle, and there's just not a lot of setups and that kind of thing. So it's not a great trading day as far as a large number of easy setups, but there's some setups there, and we'll go over them here in just a minute. But not the best trading day I've seen, and that usually is the case the day after a holiday. People are slow coming back in, traders, and some people might take an extra day or may take a day on either side of the holiday. And so it takes, generally after a holiday like that, it takes a day or two for things to kind of stabilize and normalize again. And so not surprising that it wasn't a great trading day. But anyway, let's flip over to the 2,000 tick chart. You see the daily chart here. We're getting back up to overbought territory again. My guess is we'll make at least a new high here on this retest. That's a pretty strong trend up. So I think we'll make a new high here. Doesn't mean we're going to go to this target or the all-time highs. It's hard to say at this point. And we could fold over into, this is a little steep here, so we could fold over into a flatter channel and keep working higher. So nothing's saying this trend's over yet, but we could make a new high and sell off or just work sideways or whatever. So anyway, let's flip over to the 2,000 tick chart, take a look at the chart and the trades, and we'll wrap this day up. Okay, here it is. It looked like we might start off in a range, but we broke it. It took a few tries, but we broke out of there. This looks like a spike and channel up, and we had some secondary channels within that two-tiered channel after the spike up, and there's actually a secondary channel down here as well. There was a couple of news items, no high volatility, just a few medium ones. So nothing to really be too concerned about there. But you can see you had to be real patient this morning. There were a few trades. There were only one or two mid-morning and then a few in the afternoon, and that was it. There just wasn't a whole lot of volume or movement today. So it is what it is. But anyway, 7 o'clock came as we're kind of turning down here and making this move down. And I marked this one green. This is a double top, basically a triple top. So it's like a new high here, and then you get a leg down first entry, a leg down second entry. So it also looks like two legs back. Even though you made a new low there, it still really looks like two legs back. But the main thing is you have a failure continuation pattern on the trend line here, and a decent signal bar. So maybe you take that trade. It's very advanced, and it's not for everybody, but it's a possibility. And then we just had a first entry here, first entry. There's just no setups here, and then we get this spike up, and we go into this channel, which turns out to be a spike and a bigger channel. And again, there's just no setups here. We're just steadily pushing higher, but there's no really nice setups. Finally, you got a triple test here, which the signal bars, I think, qualifies. It's not great, but I think it qualifies, and you're just playing range rules, so I like that long. That's really the first decent setup, and that doesn't come till almost 10 o'clock. It's like 9:40, 9:35, 9:40. We do break higher. We get two legs back here, and we do get a second entry long here, but this looks congested, and you can't enter that on the engulfing bar. And by the time this closes, it just looks like sideways congestion there. It does not look like rejection. So I would sit tight on that. If you took it, you had to ride this pullback back, but it still works. But I didn't like it in real time, and I wouldn't mark it. I just think you have to sit tight there. You could almost argue this is a higher low, but we moved a long way, and it comes back close enough. But I'm not crazy about it. Especially after going short here. You get a triple test here, and so there's plenty. As long as you got room back to that EMA, I think you can go short there, and it's relatively low risk, 5 ticks. So a triple test that is, if there's room back to the EMA, take that trade, and that would have been an easy scalp, but you wouldn't have got much more because we're basically in an uptrend. Although we do have a break here, and all we needed was a tick or two higher, and it could be over. But that doesn't turn out to be the case. This thing just kind of folds over into a flatter channel and keeps working higher. And like I said, this maybe you could trade this as a higher low. You got enough room there. I just didn't feel right to me in real time. I'll give it a green, but I'm not crazy about it. And then we work back here, but no setup. These are all just first entries all the way up until you get here. You do get a second entry here. I did mark this one. There's a triple test there, but there's also a second entry. If you look across here, there's definitely a triple test. And then you got a new high here, and you get a first entry, and you pull back, and you get a second entry long there. Now, you don't have a lot of room to the highs, but this thing has been going up all day. This is a strong trend. So with a triple test and second entry, I think you can take that. And you might have let it break higher and tried to get a little better entry to see if you gave yourself enough room. But I like it either way. We run up here and turn down, 2 legs down, second entry long right here at the key entry point again. Decent signal bar. I like that one. Again, it's not good for much other than a scalp. You do get a higher low on this one too, just in case this one was really like this, but you still get a close outside and a new low all the same. I'm not sure how you, to me it really looks like one leg down here and then a second leg down, but that's how I originally drew it, but it could be like this as well. Looking at it after the fact, this actually looks pretty good, but you still get the close outside and a new low all in one bar, so in a second entry. So I still think you take that trade no matter how you read that. And then you get a higher low here. Nice signal bar. And it looked like we were going to get a triple test, but it didn't work out. You do get a second entry here, but that trend channel is still working lower, and I think you need a higher low or something, and that doesn't come till over here. And so there is a higher low here. And the other thing that I liked about this one was you got a new swing low here, so it looks like a failed second entry that kind of continues on, but it's outside the main channel, so I don't think you can really trade that as a failure, but I think you can trade it just as a continuation of a higher low, basically. Notice you're coming back. This really looks like a first entry and then a second entry and then a second entry followed by a higher low. That's the way I'm reading that. And you can see it does take on off and run to a new high. This was after the break. Now we got a new high in place. Then we make a lower high, and this breaks higher first and turns down, and that's fully bullish. And look at, you see that gap? You got to figure prices are going to at least fill that gap. I'm not crazy about entering this with the sell stop at the bottom. I think if you're going to trade this one, you have to trade it on the engulfing bar. And if you hadn't heard me say this, engulfing bars are not for new traders, not for people learning. They're very advanced. They're for experienced traders that are skilled chart readers that are making money every day. So most of you don't want to take this trade. You may still enter it there because if there's room back to the EMA to scalp out, but I think you really want to enter this one on the engulfing bar, and I think that's not for everybody as well. So then we just continue to work lower here, but there's just no setups. There is a second entry here that fails, but most of you, hopefully you would realize you're not back to the trend line yet. It's too early to go short there, and it definitely looks sideways and congested as well. And in the end, I believe there's a little congested range there. And you see though, once we hit that trend line though, it turns down and turns down again. So when we finally bounce here, you only get a first entry, and then you make another new low here, and you just get another first entry. Signal bar, maybe it qualifies, maybe it doesn't, but it's just a first entry, so I don't think you want to take it. And that takes us into 230. So it just was not a great trading day. It was all uphill. Now, I'm going to go back and say this, and just before I say this, I'm going to tell you this is mostly for skilled traders. But when you see these kind of strong trends like this that just keep going higher, just about any good signal bar that comes back to the key entry point, you could take the trade. Like there's one here. There weren't a whole lot of those either, but I want to make sure I note them. There's one right here. And that's pretty much it. So there's one extra trade there, and that would have been right here. This would be considered a signal bar, but it doesn't really qualify. This one would be the signal bar here. So you just don't really get the setups. This one was a possibility. I like that if it would have broke higher there, but it doesn't. It doesn't break higher to this bar. And so you can't really trade that one either. So there's just not a lot here today. It just was not a great trading day, at least on my chart. So if you got some other setups in there on your chart, by all means, if they're off those key entry points, as you see as the way I've got it marked out here, then by all means take them. But my guess is most of your chart probably looked similar, if not exactly to mine. So anyway, I'm not going to beat around the bush with this today. I want to get out of here early. Like I said, I'm still a little slow. I feel pretty good considering I just had a major surgery, but my stomach is still really sore where they went in for the surgery. I'm just really still sore, period. But I'm not feeling anything like I was the last few days. I was really sore the next day or two. I couldn't hardly move around, or if you giggled or coughed or whatever, it hurt. You could feel it. You know, I paid for it, and but I've coughed a couple of times a day, and it's I still feel it, but nothing like it was. So I'm getting better every day. So hopefully by the end of the week, maybe I'll be back to full speed, and hopefully my heart, no more issues with my heart, and that's just was a byproduct of the surgery, which is what they seem to think it was anyway. And maybe I'll just be back to full speed, and nothing else goes on. I do have a follow-up doctor's appointment on Friday, so I know Friday I may just take that day off. I haven't decided, and it's early, so I try to leave by noon on Fridays. So I may take the day off since my appointment's at like 9 o'clock or something. I may just take the day off uh, and not even come in Friday. But I'll update you before the end of the week and let you know for sure if I'll be here Friday or not be here. It won't really matter to this bunch because I won't be doing a chart lesson anyway. So. Sometimes I post some other stuff on Fridays, some student trades, but I've asked everybody to hold those, so probably won't be any of that this Friday either. So probably going to be a real short week for me, and short week anyway because of the holiday for everybody, but it's probably going to be a little shorter just because of my surgery and me kind of healing up here and trying to get back to normal. So anyway, thanks so much. I appreciate it. I'm going to wrap this up. I'll see you tomorrow. I'm done for today. This is Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next time.